Councilor Lincoln Ressler, dear friend of ours, dear head of my clergy council, Reverend A.R. Bernard. So welcome. So welcome. It's great to be back here. Welcome. It's great to be back here. This came down from Albany and back down again, but here I am. Back down again, and I want us all take a moment. And I want us all take a moment here from this lofty, incredible vantage point. We need to focus on what's extraordinary about New York. What's extraordinary about New York? Architecture, the unsurpassed economic power, immense creativity, success, achievable, endless possibilities. Just take a look at this. But for those who only know this, slice part of New York, this is one slice of it. Head up north the river, head up north the river. Across the state, smaller cities, and towns, and hamlets, beautiful farmlands and abundant fresh manufacturing operations, large and small, diverse industries employing thousands of people, and supporting countless families. New York is the place where all ages, people walks of life, all companies want to be. For New York is the American dream. We remain the economic center of the world by embracing change, but also demanding uplift our people. And today the winds of change have blown in with the force of a hurricane. We're in the midst of one of the most significant economic upheavals in generations. Perhaps ever. Artificial intelligence is changing the way we learn, the way we communicate, the way we do business, and it has sparked a heated debate. Over the rapid construction of energy-guzzling infrastructure that is needed to power the industry. These hyperscale AI data centers consume enormous amounts of power, truly threatening to outpace our grid's capacity, and they drive up costs for local ratepayers. And I refuse to let those costs be passed on to New Yorkers who already pay too much for their utility bills. These data centers, millions of gallons of water, straining the local supplies. And when powered by fossil fuels, they drive up our carbon footprint. They occupy massive amounts of land, potentially displacing space, agricultural space, and open spaces. If you live near one, vibrations and noise ranging from annoying to loud that's so loud it's deafening and disruptive to homes and neighborhoods. The bottom line is projects shouldn't arrive with a higher utility bill, water supply, or noise pollution. So we have no choice to address these created by these massive facilities. That is why today I'll be signing the nation's statewide moratorium on hyperscale data centers. This pause will remain in place for up to 1 year. While New York establishes the strongest framework to protect our communities, to reduce the risk to our energy grid, minimize land disruption, noise pollution, and protect our natural resources, our water supply. And we're doing this with the sponsors of the moratorium bill. I want to thank Senator Gonzalez, who's joined us here today. We'll be hearing from her momentarily. Give her another round of applause. Assembly member Dee Barrett could not join us, but will be joining me later this week. Is a large part of why we're here today. So I say thank you. As I announced in my State of the State address just earlier this year, New York will require data centers to either produce their own energy, or pay a premium to tap into our grid. It's the only way that our residents and businesses have affordable energy that they need, and that our power capacity is already stretched to its limit. So we have so much more to do. We've invested so much in other forms of power, to meet the current needs of New Yorkers and our businesses. Everything from hydroelectric power, looking hard into offshore wind, despite the headwinds from Donald Trump, the administration keeps shutting it down. Clean nuclear power. clean nuclear power. We're fighting hard to deliver affordable energy for all New Yorkers. Against, as I said, obstruction from the Trump administration on killing renewable energy. But our current energy needs, future energy needs, far more power than we're producing even now, just for ourselves. And that's why I've ordered the formal implementation of this new requirement. As I said, the data centers supply their own power to get underway. We also have a lot of work to do from all my agency teams. We're going to explore having hyperscale data centers pay into a larger fund to support our grid statewide. We're going to explore having hyperscale data centers pay into a larger fund for our ratepayers to support our grid statewide process, which we already launched. We need to invest in this. Be completed within the year. Once this policy is in place, the moratorium will be reviewed and lifted. We already launched. But there's something else that's so important to me. Once this policy is in place, I was a local official for 14 years, a council member, just like Lincoln, a little smaller town. 14 years. That experience taught me to always put the needs of the local residents first, full stop. And that's why I've directed my administration to create what we're calling the Community Investment Framework for those localities that want to host data centers. I want to make sure that if they're going to come, those localities will reap substantial benefits. So when the moratorium ends and the construction of these data centers begins in communities where they are welcome, the people in those communities will get substantial benefit, and there's many, many examples around the country. We've seen parts of our country collect millions, even hundreds of millions of dollars from these centers to go from everything for new roads, water supply, infrastructure, schools, community centers, playgrounds, fire departments, medical centers, even farm preservation. The bigger the data center, the bigger the investments that communities can and should expect. We also want to make sure that labor has a seat at the table. So projects can include wage standards and labor agreements and prioritize local hiring. The final part of my plan is to ensure that these hyperscale data centers do not receive tax benefits, full stop. New Yorkers work hard, and on my watch, their tax dollars will not be used to benefit these large firms, these centers. That's why I'm proposing an end to all tax subsidies for data centers. Now, no one can accuse New York of fearing innovation. We lead the nation in harnessing AI as the technology of the future. We're already building the largest supercomputer outside the private sector that is dedicated to public good. It's Empire AI, launched this years ago. And we're using AI to drive efficiencies across state government, saving millions of hours and dollars for our residents. And I'm excited about this. But that said, a lot of Americans, for a lot of them, the specter of unchecked AI brings up fear, anxiety, a lot of worry. The threat of job displacement is real. People aren't afraid of technology. They're just afraid of being left behind by it, especially younger adults who wonder how they'll fit into an AI-powered future. Their feelings are valid, and we cannot ignore them. Just as automation had a seismic impact on our economy and our workforce generations ago, today it is AI that is changing our world and our workforce at warp speed. For this reason, I've already convened our Future Works Commission, filled with top experts and industry leaders, academics, labor leaders. Everyone is at the table, technology experts. And I've asked them to do this: study the risks and the rewards of AI, but also prepare our workers for the transition if necessary, or an AI competency, so they're ready to fill the jobs that are required today. I want no one left behind. At our first meeting, I said I want my recommendations. I'm sure like any commission, they feared this is going to go on for a few years. Yeah, I said I want the recommendations this fall, so get busy.
because I approach this with an incredible sense of urgency, because that is what people are feeling. And I want them incorporated into my next State of the State address. Now, I began my remarks today by asking you to just look out this incredible horizon. Let's start by looking just around us, inside. The building we're in right now was built in 1882 as a sugar refinery when factories lined New York's waterfront. Over the next century, our nation saw those jobs disappear. And New York had to reinvent itself once again, over and over, next as the financial capital of the world. When this factory finally closed its doors in 2004, New York City and the real estate community came together, worked together to transform this building into something built for the new economy, a home for tech startups. But just as important to me is what's below us, Domino Park, a public community space beloved by the people who live here, built and paid for by the team behind this incredible development. Truly a vast improvement over its industrial past. Again, this is what happens when government and the private sector team up. They can create something quite extraordinary. And I think about this project, I think about one of my mother's favorite phrases: go into the world and do well, but more importantly, go into the world and do good. In fact, we have that, used to be on our refrigerator when I was growing up, and now it's inscribed in my mother's headstone. So her children and grandchildren and others will know that's what she stood for. I embody that sense as well every day. But that's how we do things in New York. We want people here. We want them to invest. We want to grow their business and do well. But when you do well and you benefit from the talent, the land, and the energy of New York, we expect you to do good for our communities. When you succeed because of New York, New Yorkers should succeed as well. It's that simple. You know, a couple years ago I said in my State of the State, whoever owns AI owns the future. I stand by that. New York will always welcome investment and innovation, and will always, always stand up for our workers and our people. No one gets to build their future by asking hard-working New Yorkers to sacrifice theirs. So, if you're willing to create good-paying jobs, you're willing to invest in communities that make your success possible, you'll find no stronger partner than the state of New York. And I also believe this, that the businesses that build technology capable of changing civilization with AI are also capable of working with us to protect our power grid, to protect our water supplies and our communities. I believe it can be done, which is why, as your governor, I just don't want New York to be first. I want New York to be first in the right way. And that's why we're going to take the time to get it right. That is my commitment to the people of the great state of New York. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Let me welcome my partner in state government, our Senator Kristen Gonzalez. I apologize. There's a lot of Kristen Gillibrands. Senator Gonzalez. Let's give it up for Senator Gonzalez.
There you go. Thank you, Madam Governor, and good morning, everyone. Thank you all so much for joining us today. I'm State Senator Kristen Gonzalez. I represent District 59 on the east side of Manhattan, in Western Queens, and right here in Northern Brooklyn. It's actually one of the best views of my district, so I want to thank the governor's team for choosing always such a good location. I'm also the chair of the Internet and Technology Committee and the proud Senate sponsor of the Responsible Data Center Development Act, which passed with bipartisan support through both chambers this year. In my time in office, I have learned what it means to make good tech policy and what makes good government. Good tech policy is founded on the principle that technology should make our lives easier, not harder. And good government means collaborating, balancing interests, and delivering real wins for New Yorkers. Today's executive order establishing the first in the nation statewide data center moratorium shows what is possible when we take both of these principles seriously. With this executive order, Governor Hochul is setting the standard that technology should improve our lives, not pollute our environment, strain our energy grid, or drive up our utility bills. We've heard from New Yorkers across the state who are worried about what the rise in artificial intelligence means for them, for our society, for our children. Automating jobs, child online safety, the rise of hyperscale data centers. These may be different issues, but they send one clear message. In the face of uncertainty, New Yorkers are looking to government to be proactive in protecting all of us. With increasing uncertainty, it has never been more important for legislators and governors to have a clear plan for the future. I'm proud to say, in many ways, New York has led. We've regulated artificial intelligence, protecting jobs, adding guardrails to chatbots, reining in frontier models, all while promoting our state as a hub for innovation and the AI economy. Here in New York, we understand with the right guardrails, this new technology has the potential to improve all of our lives. But hyperscale data centers are quite literally on a scale we have never seen before. And the challenges they pose to our energy grid and to our environment require the urgency of this executive order. Potential data centers in New York are seeking more than 9,000 megawatts of new electricity, about 1/3 of the total energy New York uses yearly. This gold rush for electricity comes after New York experienced a 44% increase in residential rates between 2020 and 2025, above the national rate increase of 32%. It is a fact that our energy grid is already too strained. Over the July 4th weekend, we saw how vulnerable our grid was when Mayor Mamdani asked New Yorkers to keep their thermostats at 78 degrees during a heat wave. New Yorkers simply cannot afford the energy or the bills that would come with bringing 9,000 more megawatts onto the grid. If we look outside of our state lines, we can see where this road leads if we do nothing. In Virginia's Data Center Alley, Bloomberg did a wholesale electricity study which showed prices have climbed as much as 267% compared to 5 years ago in areas near significant data center activity. In Henrico County, schools have been asked to dim lights while seeing their power costs rise an additional 25%. Over the same period of 2020 to 2025, only one permanent job was created for every $54 million invested. That's 168 times more than what it costs on average to create one permanent non-data center job. And on water usage, estimates show the US used 17 billion gallons of water because of hyperscale data centers in 2023 alone. While it is clear this is a nationwide issue, in New York, it's a unifying one. Support for a data center moratorium transcends demographics, political ideologies, and geographies. All across the state, in towns like North Tonawanda and Alabama, New York, in counties like Rockland and Chautauqua, upstate and downstate, New Yorkers made their voices heard. If big tech is coming onto our turf, it should be on our terms, which means no more new data centers unless we have the right processes in place. That's why this executive order is so significant. Similar to our bill, by establishing a moratorium on Department of Environmental Conservation permits for the largest data centers, 50 megawatts and above, while a general environmental impact study is conducted, we are giving our state time to plan for a positive energy future. By directing the PSC to complete their Energize New York proceeding and charge large energy facilities higher to pay into a grid fund, we are making these large companies pay their fair share while protecting our grid. And by issuing guidance on a community investment fund, we are giving local governments a framework to negotiate and to win. With this, we can continue to benefit from innovation while protecting ourselves from its risks. Thank you to Governor Hochul and her team for working with us. Thank you for balancing interests and delivering a real win for New Yorkers. And thank you for taking action proactively to protect all of us. Thank you to the entire Environmental Justice Coalition that has worked and fought for years on the issue of data centers. that has made this a statewide conversation. This win is yours as well. Thank you to Assemblymember Dede Barrett, Senators Krueger, May, and Comrie, and Assembly Members Kellis and Tapia. I look forward to continuing to work with all of you to build an innovative and sustainable New York. Thank you. And with that, I have the immense privilege of introducing our next speaker, Julie Tai, President of the New York League of Conservation Voters. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator. Good morning. My name is Julie Tai. I'm president of the New York League of Conservation Voters. We're a statewide environmental advocacy organization that fights for clean air, clean water, and clean energy. Thank you, Governor Hochul, for your leadership on this important issue, for recognizing that New York has an opportunity and a responsibility to get this right. We're so grateful to Senator Gonzalez and Assemblymember Dede Barrett for elevating this issue and advancing legislation that zeroed in on the challenges posed by large-scale data centers, an issue, as senators pointed out, has been prioritized by so many in the environmental and environmental justice movement. Artificial intelligence and the technologies powered by data centers are part of our everyday life. They're important to our economy. They create opportunities for innovation and for growth. Technology is going to be one of those things that helps us get through the climate crisis and help us make our buildings and our transmission systems use energy more efficiently. The question is, how does New York embrace this technology responsibly? Because large data centers consume enormous amounts of energy. 9 gigawatts of energy, think about that. That is a massive amount of energy. By comparison, Champlain Hudson Power Express is bringing 1,250 megawatts of clean energy into New York City. That's going to power about 20% of New York City's needs. So think about how much that energy that is. And thank you again, Governor, for making sure that project moved forward. We know families are already worried about the rising cost of utilities, and our electric grid is under increasing pressure. As data centers put pressure on electricity demand, we have to ensure that everyday New Yorkers aren't left footing the bill and that data centers pay their fair share. Ratepayers and communities must be protected. We're experiencing another summer heat wave. And today, I got another air quality advisory, which I think you can all see, the haze out there. It reminds us why building a clean, reliable energy systems matters. Unchecked growth of data centers relying on fossil fuels for energy is a public health issue. Data centers require a lot of natural resources and have the potential to harm local communities. Local air quality, water resources, and environmental justice communities deserve protection. That's what this executive order is about. Some moratoriums are used to endlessly stop progress. That's not what this is. This is a pause creating the time needed to put the right guardrails in place to make sure progress happens responsibly. We can grow New York's economy and still protect our air, our water, our communities. This is an opportunity to strengthen our clean energy future. New data centers should hyperscale investments in new renewable energy, transmission, and storage. They should be adding clean energy to the grid, not competing for the limited resources that we already have. New York has always shown that economic growth and environmental leadership go hand in hand. And this executive order keeps us moving in that direction. So thank you again, Governor Hochul and Senator Gonzalez and Assemblymember Dede Barrett for listening to communities, for recognizing the urgency of this issue, and for taking action to ensure New York's technology future is also a sustainable future. Thank you. Now I'm pleased to introduce Connor Eckert, President and CEO of the Orange County Partnership.
Good morning. Is everyone doing okay? Good. My name is Connor Eckert. I'm the President and CEO of the Orange County Partnership, Center for Economic Development down in the Hudson Valley. And it's a privilege to be here. And firstly, thank you, Governor Hochul, for your leadership and outside-the-box creativity on this very nuanced issue that I think economic developers at the local level are grappling with every day. Our local stakeholders, our business partners, our town supervisors and mayors are asking questions about data centers, and having the framework in place to answer the question and provide processes critical. So thank you, Governor. And as economic developers, our mission, most fundamentally, is to work with communities to create new jobs, to support innovation and business growth, and plan for the future, bringing together a wide coalition of business leaders, of utility stakeholders, of community stakeholders, and our partners in state government like NYSERDA, NESD, and the PSC, and the DEC, and so many groups to come together around what the future industries in our communities look like. And make no mistake, data centers are part of that equation. They're the backbone of the digital economy, right? As AI continues to proliferate as a change maker and a change agent, a disruptor. But at the same time, we need to approach the data center and AI sector strategically, responsibly. And as many economic developers in the room will attest, energy is our most critical resource right now, energy and people. And projects are only getting more and more power intensive. And those electrons are critical. And in Orange County, we see that as an opportunity to maximize job creation, but make sure we're developing our sites and our communities responsibly and maximizing opportunities for long-term investment. So the framework announced today, I think, creates an opportunity to bring the right voices to the table, to wrap our arms around what will be a critical sector for New York and frankly, the country, but making sure we're regulating it and approaching it correctly and dynamically and thoughtfully. It preserves our ability to attract diverse industry that's energy intensive, think food manufacturing and pharma and life sciences, while also laying the groundwork to continue to compete and lead in AI and data centers. And we can do both, and we should do both. And again, in Orange County, we're focused on attracting the industries of tomorrow, but we want communities to be at the table with us, building a strategy that is inclusive, that is transparent, and that is lasting. And by strategically planning today, we are laying the groundwork to compete tomorrow in a thoughtful and dynamic way. I'm happy to be here. I'm happy to give some local perspective. It's a tall task following up 3 amazing speakers, but happy to do it. And thank you, Governor Hochul. Thank you for having me. And thank you again. Okay.
Ladies and gentlemen, please remain seated as the governor signs the executive order.